Well, how's it going, you guys? Welcome back to the Needy Homesteader. I'm hoping that my audio works this time. I'm still learning the new camera, the new mic, and the new setup, and all of the things. So, it's late at night, so excuse this. It's been a long day, homeschooling 3 kids and taking care of the house and filming earlier in the day and editing and all of the things, right? Um, but I just released my video, which is the first video in the Canning Revolution workshop series, my mission statement to you. And I just want to say thank you so much for all the positive feedback. I'm so excited that you guys are so excited, that it makes me even more excited to do this with you guys. And I just want you guys to not feel alone. Okay, we're going to have fun. We're going to get everybody canning. I'm reading through the comments and I am noticing now this is dedicated to a few of you who have commented tonight, which will be last night because this will go up Thursday night. But you know what I'm saying. This is going to be dedicated to some of you because I want to address some of the fears. That's what I want to do tonight. Now, I had planned on doing this video anyways. I just didn't plan on doing it tonight, but I'm pumped up and I feel like we need to talk about this even before we get into like my equipment, okay? Let's talk about the top 2 canning fears. Well, one has like a two-parter, but there's 2 top canning fears. One, I'm going to blow up my kitchen. And 2, I'm going to kill my family, poison my family, make my family sick. And I'm afraid to open up the jars and actually eat the food that I canned. So let's talk about these because these are real legitimate fears. These are fears I think every canning queen and king that I know has had at one time or another. I know I had these fears when I started canning. So they're legitimate fears. What I want to do with these fears is turn them from fears that prevent you from canning, because a lot of you, because of the fear of blowing up your kitchen, you don't want to can, or for fear of making your family sick, it prevents you from canning. Some of you have gone ahead and you've worked through the fear of blowing up your kitchen, and you've worked through the whole fear of canning, and you've actually done it. And now you have those beautiful jars full of food made with love, and you're terrified to crack open a jar and eat from it because you don't want to make your family sick. So let's talk about the fear of blowing up your kitchen first, okay? Now, this is a legitimate fear. I had a girlfriend back in high school. She was my best friend. Her name was Julia. And she was using an old-time pressure cooker, not a canner. And I remember her calling me frantic because it blew up on her. And me and my mother driving over to her house. She only lived about a half mile or so away from my house. And making sure she was okay. And she had some mild burns on her. So this is a legitimate fear. What I want to say to you is let this fear fuel you. So let this fear be a guide for you to make sure that you are going nice and slow. You're following all the rules. You're following the guidelines. You are, dotting your I's and crossing your T's. And as long as you are following the directions to your canner, you are not going to have any problems. Canners nowadays go through, unlike back in the 50s or even earlier than that, nowadays they are made so well and they have so many safety features on them that it's almost, you would have to be extremely negligent to explode your canner. You would have to be running it hard, high, dry to explode it. Okay. So They have, like I know on my All American, you have a safety valve that will pop. Now it'll ruin the whole top of your lid. You'll have to replace the whole lid, but there is almost no way that you can explode these canners anymore. They have so much safety built into them. So I don't want you to have this worry prevent you from canning. For some of you, this is such a great fear of yours because you have seen it happen to your grandmother, that it's really paralyzing you and preventing you from canning. And I just want to reassure you that your canner is, as long as you're following the steps and you're following the guidelines, you have nothing to fear, okay? So let it, instead of paralyze you and preventing you from canning, let it fuel you and let it make you conscientious and aware of what you're doing so that you're a safe canner. It can actually fuel you in a positive direction. Okay, so let that be your fuel. Now, let's talk about making your family sick, poisoning your family, botulism. This is a real, legitimate fear, but I promise you, as long as you're using good food, which means don't use bad food, spoiled food. I've seen it happen. I've seen people do it. So use good food. Prepare it properly, keep everything clean, be a clean canner, and follow the guidelines. Don't rush the canning process. Heat up your canner, vent it, let it get up to temperature, let it process, and then after the processing time, take it off the heat and let it come down off of pressure. All of that time, from the time you close your canner to the time you open your canner, that time is the process time that particular food needs to can. So as long as you're not rushing anything, as long as you're keeping everything clean, you're using good food, you're following the process, you're following the directions laid out for you, you are going to have no problem. Now, let's say you look at this can, and somebody just left this comment. So you look at this jar and you canned those beans properly. You followed the rules. That you put good beans in that jar. But you're still looking at it and you're saying, I'm scared to eat you. This is what I say to you. Pop open that jar, put it in a saucepan, bring it up to a boil and simmer it for 10 minutes. And if any botulism was in there at all, which I doubt very highly there is, but if there's anything in there at all, cooking it for 10 minutes will kill it. So that will be perfectly safe to eat. So that means you're going to watch some canners that can chicken and then pop open a jar, drain it, put it in a bowl and make chicken salad. Don't do that. Don't do that until you feel comfortable to do that. Heat up your chicken instead. Pop open that jar, put that chicken in a pot pie and bake it in the oven for an hour. Make it nice, bubbly, and hot. Everything in it is cooked off and it's going to be perfectly safe to eat. When you check your jars, when you open up a jar of food, look at it first. Make sure that it looks good. Pop it open. Make sure it smells good. As long as it's passing all of your senses, that jar of food should be perfectly safe to eat, but heat it up just in case so that you know that it's safe, and then enjoy it. And the more that you do it, I promise you, the more that you work through these fears, like I said, they're legitimate fears and they're good fears. They're healthy fears, because a good canner is a safe canner. A good canner is a safe canner. So without these fears, if you were just doing it willy-nilly and just not paying attention and just not caring, then you are more apt to actually be a bad canner or hurt yourself, right? So these fears that you have are actually good. It's actually a positive thing. It means that you're really aware and that you're really going to do this and do it properly. So don't let it paralyze you. Don't let it prevent you from canning. That's the only time that these fears are not a good thing. But as long as you use them as fuel, then they're actually gonna work out in your favor. So I hope that this encourages you to work through it. We're gonna walk through these fears anyway together, and throughout the rest of the month. But don't be hard on yourself. Know that these are good things that you're worried about, and it's just going to make you that much more aware and more conscientious and that much more of a safe canner. So I hope this was helpful to you, and I hope this encourages you in some way to work through it, work past it, and get to canning, because I know that's why you're all here and that's what you really want to learn. So I am here to cheer you on. If you have any questions, leave them down below. I just felt this need to come on and talk to you guys about this before I talk about anything else, because I think these are the two biggest fears that we need to kind of work through in order to get you canning and in order to get that canner on the stove. Because if you can look at that canner and say, okay, I have a fear that this is going to explode, but if I take all the proper cautions and I follow the instructions, this is going to be perfectly safe. And I promise you, it will be safe. The first time you're done pressure canning for the first time, you're going to be like, oh, that was so easy. Wow, that was so easy. I promise. Okay, so with that, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to go wash my face. I'm going to hit the hay, and I will be seeing you guys. Well, I'm probably make another video tomorrow on my canning equipment, so I'll be seeing you in another day or two. So you guys take care, and I'll be seeing you soon. Good night, guys.